everyone, I am Nishu and I am back again with Kingdom Monera and the last part of the video which is belonging to Kingdom Monera, this topic. Now children, in this part I am going to discuss few of the examples which belong to photosynthetic autotrophs and your heterotrophs. Now children, let me begin with your eubacteria, photosynthetic bacteria, known as example is cyanobacteria. Now children, if I begin with cyanobacteria, I told you that this cyanobacteria is also called as blue-green algae. Now why it is called as blue-green algae? Because the term cyano means blue, blue color. So hence their color appears as a blue color, so it is called as blue-green algae. And children, in my last part I told you that they are photosynthetic group and their chlorophyll is also present. So hence greenish appearance is also there, a slight. So that is why they are called as blue-green algae. Because of presence of chlorophyll, it is green, and because the color appears in blue in color, so it is called as blue-green algae. So hope you understood the meaning of the cyanobacteria, that cyano means blue in color and chlorophyll present, so hence the organisms are also called as blue-green algae. Now children, this is only I have mentioned here that the term cyano means blue, so the organisms are also called as cyanobacteria. And you are knowing that they perform photosynthesis, and one of the most important point here, that cyanobacteria helps in enriching oxygen in the atmosphere. Now what do you mean by this point? They help in enriching oxygen in the atmosphere. Now children, during photosynthesis process, what is the byproduct? Yes, your oxygen is the byproduct which is released at the end of the process, photosynthesis. So children, similarly here, as this cyanobacteria prepares their own food by the process of photosynthesis utilizing sunlight and chlorophyll, so hence in this process also oxygen is released at the end of the process. So where the oxygen is released? The oxygen is released in the atmosphere. So it is written here that it helps the atmosphere by enriching oxygen. Hope children, this cyanobacteria example is clear to you. Now I will be moving to the heterotrophic bacteria and I will be taking example here, Escherichia coli. Children, I will be taking two examples, Escherichia coli, which is also called as in short E. coli, and then the second example I will be taking, which is your Mycoplasma. So now first let us discuss the first example, that is your Escherichia coli. Now children, this Escherichia coli are rod-shaped bacteria. Shape I have discussed in the characteristic features of Kingdom Monera. So hope you know that these bacteriums are of various shapes like Coccus, Bacillus, Spirillum, Vibrio. So there are various types of shapes. So here children, your Escherichia coli is rod-shaped bacteria. And children, as I told you that they are heterotrophic type of bacteria. So where they are found? They are found in the lower intestine. In the lower intestine, yes, of all the warm-blooded organisms. So your heterotrophic bacteria, one of the example Escherichia coli, they are found in lower intestine of warm-blooded animals. Now children, one point more, that mostly E. coli, Escherichia coli is not harmful. But if some of the strains are there, those strains are harmful and they cause a very serious food poisoning in the living organisms, especially in the human beings. So I have mentioned that here, that mostly their types are not harmful, but some of them can cause serious food poisoning in humans. Now children, let us move to the second type of heterotrophic bacteria, which is your Mycoplasma. Now children, the next example is Mycoplasma. Now let us move on that. This Mycoplasma is a parasitic type of bacteria. By parasitic it is clear that they are residing in the host, deriving nutrition from them, and then they are harming the host. So they are a type of parasitic bacteria. Now children, Mycoplasma do not have cell wall. Now till yet whatever I was discussing, whatever examples I have discussed, they were having cell wall. But this mycoplasma is an example where your cell wall is present. And if you remember, while discussing the silent features of kingdom Monera, I told you that some of the bacterians, they may have cell wall and they may not have cell wall. So children, mycoplasma is an example where your cell wall is absent. Now children, it is the smallest living cell among all the type of cells. Now where it is found, as it is parasite, it is found in the blood smear. Then they are found in the urinogenital tract, or they are found in human respiratory tract. So children, this is the location where they are found, where they survive, they take nutrition, and if the quantity of mycoplasma increases, then it becomes harmful also for the human beings, for the host. Now children, they causes different type of disease. Now one of the disease which it is causing, it is your pneumonia. You might have heard this name, it is a very common name. So pneumonia is caused, and the causal organism, the pathogen is Mycoplasma pneumoniae. Now children, there are many harmful bacterians and there are many useful bacterians also. It is not that all the bacterians are very harmful to us. There are many bacteria which is also useful to us. Now children, let us discuss about some of the examples of there where the bacterians are useful and where some of the bacterians are harmful for human beings. Now children, we are in the end part of the topic. Now here in this part I am going to discuss that what are the harmful and useful bacteria found in the nature. Now let us first discuss the harmful, then I will be moving to the useful bacteria. Now children, there are some of the harmful bacteria causing different type of diseases. Now the first disease I am mentioning, that is your typhoid, and children, it is caused by Salmonella typhi. Salmonella typhi is the pathogen, causal organism due to which your typhoid is caused. Now the second disease is cholera, and it is caused by Vibrio cholerae. Now this is the causal organism. Now the third disease, tetanus, it is caused by Clostridium tetani, and the fourth one is syphilis, caused by Treponema pallidum, and the fifth is tuberculosis, which is caused by Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Now children, these are some of the common diseases which you have heard the name, which are familiar. So I have used them and their causal organism I have told. Now children, moving to the useful bacteria. Now the most important work of the bacteria, that they are decomposers. What happens? That they feed upon dead and decomposed materials, and due to which your environment get cleaned up. So that is why it is one of the useful purpose of bacteria. So they are behaving like decomposers, and the examples for decomposers are Bacillus, Streptomyces, Pseudomonas. These are some of the examples. Now children, the next one is curd, and you know that how curd is prepared. In everybody's house curd is prepared, everybody's mother prepares curd. What she do? That she takes a lukewarm milk, then puts a spoonful of curd into it as a starter and cover it and keep it for the whole night, and next morning your curd is prepared. So what happens there? Now children, the curd is prepared because of lactobacillus. Lacto word is taken from lactose. Lactose means it is present, it is a type of sugar which is present in milk. So children, lactobacillus, it is a rod shaped bacteria. So because of presence of lactobacillus, the curd is prepared. Now children, the next useful purpose is nitrogen fixation, and the example is rhizobium. This is also very common, you have studied in class 9th, that this rhizobium, they take shelter in the roots of leguminous plants. They form root nodules, they take shelter there, and then it is a type of symbiosis also. Children, what happens? This rhizobium fixes nitrogen, compounds of nitrogen for the plants, and you know that nitrogen is one of the most essential mineral for the growth and development of a plant. So this rhizobium, helps in fixing nitrogen in the roots of the leguminous plants, and in return this rhizobium derives nutrition from the plants. So it is a type of symbiosis, mutual understanding. On one hand, rhizobium is providing your helping in fixing nitrogen so that the plants can absorb more and more nutrient like nitrogen for their better growth and development, and in return plant is also providing better nutrition for the rhizobium to survive, so that the as much in large quantity rhizobium can survive in the roots of the leguminous plants. So the leguminous plants can fix more and more nitrogen in them, and the nitrogen can be absorbed by the plants for their better growth and development. So children, this is one of the function, one of the important useful purpose of bacteria. So children, here in this part I have discussed some of the useful and harmful aspects of bacteria, and till yet in this topic I was discussing all the silent features of kingdom Monierans and the examples of the kingdom Monieran. Now children, hope all the points which I have discussed in the previous videos regarding kingdom Monera and in today's video regarding the examples is very much clear to you all. Now children, in the next part of the video I will be moving with the next kingdom, kingdom Protista. Till then, I hope it is clear to you all. Thank you.